It may seem a little strange, but even in these days of digital, some photographers miss the textured effect that they had in their photos when they were shooting with high ISO films. That grainy effect, where clumps of grain would show through their images, was often an attractive and atmospheric addition to their photos, and they miss it when they get their images back from their digital camera with a very smooth appearance. But in Photoshop Elements we can add some of that texture back into our picture using some of the filters inside the program. The simplest way to add some texture in is to go up to Filter, down to Noise, and then Add Noise. The Add Noise filter allows us to add in random noise to the picture, and if I just drag up the amount slider here, you'll see the noise is added to the photo. Now you'll also notice that it's not just textured noise, but it's also colored noise as well, so you get some random pixels of color in there. This can be distracting to your actual photo, so if you click on the monochrome option inside the filter, then it's only grey, white and black noise that's added to the picture itself. You can also choose two different types of distribution: uniform, where the same amount of noise is applied across the whole tonal scale, or Gaussian, where different amounts of noise are applied to the shadow and highlight areas and the mid-tone areas. So we're going to select Gaussian, and we can adjust the strength of the effect using the amount slider. Make sure that your filter preview is on 100% so that you get a better indication of how that texture is being applied to your image. And once you're OK with the result, then just click OK to apply that texture to your photo. I'm just going to edit undo to get rid of that effect and look at another option that we can actually use to add texture to our picture. So we go to Filter again. This time we're going to go down to Texture, then across to Grain. Now the Grain filter, unlike the Noise filter, actually has a range of different textures that we can apply to our image. We can start off with Regular, which simulates pretty much the type of texture that we were looking at in the Add Noise filter. But there's also other things like Sprinkles and Clumped and Contrasty, but also other things like Horizontal and Vertical, Stripes, which is not really grain, but it does offer some texture to the image as well. We have a couple of controls here that you can use to adjust the strength and the positioning and the look of the texture that you're applying. Intensity, so it will change the way in which the texture is actually applied to the image, and contrast, how contrasty the texture is when it's applied to the photograph. So let's just click OK, have a bit of a look how that looks. So you can see it's a very textured result, very stylized result as well. So I'm going to edit undo or Control Z again to take us back to our original. And let's look at one last option. We'll go up to Filter and then down to Texture again, and this time across to Texturizer. Now the Texturizer control, or the Texturizer filter, again has some options for us to work with. We can select the type of texture that we're going to be applying to the image. So you can select like a brick-like texture, a burlap or a canvas, and apply that texture to the image. You can scale up the texture, so it makes it more dominant and larger scale, and adjust the relief, or how strong that texture is. You can also look at changing the direction of the light and how it runs across the texture in order to suit the image itself. And if you have an image loaded or an image saved in a PSD file format, you can actually apply this as a texture to your picture as well. So you could go off and photograph sandstone or pebbles or wood, load it into Photoshop Elements, save it off as a PSD, and then apply that as a texture as well. So you can apply your own texture using this Texturizer filter. So these are the options that we have for adding texture to our picture.